with Alexis. Alexis is her sort of first time in a video. She can sit up now on her own. Yeah, she's just about 6 months and 4 days, maybe 5 days. Yeah, she just got well from being sick. Like, she had a fever over the last few days and like cough and cold, but I think she's looking better today. So today I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite storybooks or children's books. And I am sort of like a preschool teacher, or rather used to be a preschool teacher, and I really love reading books to kids. So these are some books that I really enjoyed. Not really for the kids that I teach, yeah, kind of, but I also enjoy reading it to Alexis. So maybe I can tell you what's more suitable for the younger ones, and maybe also what's more suitable for slightly older kids like the K1s and K2s. So the first book that I really like, we sort of chanced upon this book. It's actually called Rory the Dinosaur, me and my dad. Wei Meng and I chanced upon it when we went to the library to borrow some books. So we borrowed it and then we really enjoyed the story, and we bought it off Books Depository, and it was much cheaper. So this is actually about this boy Rory and his dad, and how Rory went on an adventure. And yeah, I'll just show you some pages. Like, he thought he went on an adventure on his own, but there was somebody really along with him. Yeah, I really love the drawings of the picture. I like the dinosaur, and the story is very meaningful. Yeah. Alexis kind of doesn't really understand the story. I guess she doesn't really understand much, but I think it's a story that teaches quite a bit of things to the children. But there was once when I actually taught I think a group of K1 kids who's about, I think, 5-year-olds. They didn't quite understand that that was the dad following Rory all throughout the story. But it took a bit of explanation, and you know, finally they actually understood what it meant. So I really love this story, and I really recommend it. Like, every parent should have a book like this for your child. Okay, so the next book that I really love is called this book, Not a Box. So basically, it's like a cardboard feeling thing. You know, there's this thing as well that says this side up. So this book is actually about this box. Basically, it's not a box, and it's, you know, supposed to be something else. So it's actually very good for children, especially the older children, to sort of like use their imagination. So for example, one of the stories says, "What are you doing on top of that box?" See? Can you guess? So usually we'll ask the kids, like, you know, can you guess what it is, or do you know what happens in the story, and things like that. So what happens, it says, "It is not a box." Okay, so basically he is like at the peak of the mountain or the volcano or something. Mountain, yeah. So it's really very interesting. This whole story goes on like that, you know, like, this is not a box, this is a blah blah blah. So it's really very good for imagination and follow-up activities that you can do with your child. You can do things like, you know, getting them to draw a box and say this is not a box, and then get them to draw a picture beyond the box. And you know, it helps them with like vocabulary and imagination and creativity. So this book is good. They actually came up with another one, which is called Not a Stick. Yeah. This book is alright. It's, you know, interesting, but I felt that this was much better in terms of the illustrations and the pictures that the box became, yeah, rather than the stick. The stick's quite boring. Okay, another book that I also really love and kids really go crazy over is this book called Press Here. Basically, you're supposed to press the button, follow the instructions, and then some things actually really like happen. So like, for example, at the start they say, "Perfect, rub the door on the left gently." So you rub it, and then something happens. It changes color. So basically, this book is really loved by like the nursery children, the K1s and K2s as well. And yeah, they really go crazy. And once I finish reading the book, they'll go more, again. So I have to read the book at least like 3 times before I'll be like, no, that's enough. For Alexis, she doesn't really get it. She does enjoy it because she likes, you know, the colors, and she likes to sort of like touch the buttons or the balls in the book, but it's very difficult for us to read the book because she keeps wanting to touch it and touch it and touch it and touch it. So I also recommend this book. You should really get it for your kids, especially the older ones, like maybe nursery onwards. They recently came out with another one by the same author. It's called Mix It Up. We haven't really finished reading it because when we started reading the first few pages, Alexis kept wanting to touch it, so I haven't finished the book at all. So check this out first before you check this out. Okay, so the next book is actually this book called Choose First Day at School. It's by this guy called Neil Gaiman and Adam Rex. Neil Gaiman or Gaiman sort of writes books that Wei Meng loves, and once we actually saw this at Kino and we decided to buy it because the illustrations were really cute and because Wei Meng likes the author, so we decided to get it. And it's actually very interesting. It's talking about how this boy, or rather this panda, was a little afraid of going to school, and how you know, he was very worried about going to school and like people not liking him, but in the end, after going through the entire day, he sort of enjoyed himself, and like he realized his friends actually love him. So this book is actually very good also for kids who are starting school. You know, like it doesn't need to be for the younger kids. It can be for like maybe preschoolers. It can be for primary school children, like maybe primary 1 kids starting school. Yeah, so this is actually a very interesting book for like first day of school kind of thing. And he also recently came out with another one, which is Choose Day at the Beach. It's alright, but I find that this is still much better, and I think Wei Meng thinks so too. Like he enjoys this book a lot more than this. So yeah, get this first. So another book that we got is this book from a friend, Wei Meng's friend. She actually got us this book because she is a preschool teacher, and she says that she loves singing this song Baby Beluga to her students. And at first when I listened to the song, it was a bit confusing. It was like, don't know how to sing, but now we sing it with Alexis almost every night when we can, or when we read storybooks to her. And you can actually go and Google it. This guy Rafi, he has a YouTube channel with this song on it, so that's how we learned how to sing it. And it's a very nice song, like for good night songs and things like that. Or maybe you can sing it with the kids when they learn about the ocean or sea creatures or something. So yeah, it's one of the books that Alexis enjoys, and it's like just right for her, you know, like the size. She really loves touching it. Now the next book that I really love is called The Rhyming Dust Bunnies. I use this book to teach kids rhyming words. So for example, you have things like oh, she's bored now. Yeah, so I teach kids rhyming words or word families. For example, I teach them the at family, so you can have things like hat, mat, cat. Yeah, I teach them using the rhyming, the word families. You also can teach them rhyming words. So for example, I teach them things like kitten, mitten, kitten, mitten, cannot think of any now, but yeah, rhyming words. Yeah, so it's actually very interesting, and the illustrations are really cute. So it's like about these dust bunnies and how they like, what rhymes with dog? So they'll say like hog, log, fog. Look out! Here comes a big scary monster with a broom. Then they'll go, Bob, no. Look out, here comes a big scary monster with a broom. Does not rhyme with anything really. So it's really like how this dust bunny was like warning the other 3 about you know, like a vacuum cleaner. Yeah, and they all thought that he meant that it's like a rhyming word, but it's really not. So it's very good for the older kids. I would recommend this for like the K1s and K2s to teach them rhyming words as well as like word families. That's very useful. Okay, another book that I kind of like, which is very similar to this book press here, it's called Don't Push the Button. the kid will definitely want to push the button. But it's really a listening book to get the children to follow instructions. It helps them to learn like self-control and things like that. It is quite fun, but I would think this would be good for the age group of like maybe a K1, K2 child, so that they really understand the instructions and to be able to carry out the instructions. Yeah, yeah, so this is another good book. Now the last two books, I got it quite recently. Oh, where's Alexis? Hi Alexis. She's gone. Yeah, so the last two books I got it really recently, and I kind of like it, I kind of don't really like it. I'll explain to you why I like it and why I don't. So this first book is Does a Kangaroo Have a Mother Too? And it's actually by Eric Carle. Eric Carle is a very famous author. He writes many books like The Very Hungry Caterpillar, The Artist Who Painted a Blue Horse, The Very Busy Spider. This is one of his books where I find that it's really very interesting because you actually teach them, or rather the kids, the animal and their young. So for example, you ask like, does a kangaroo have a mother too? Then you go like, yeah, a kangaroo has a mother. But they don't really tell you like, you know, this is a lion and this is a cub. Or like the kangaroo and the joey. They don't really say that in the story. They do that at the end. So if you were to read this book to your kids, it's really important to teach them the correct names. So when they ask like, does a kangaroo have a mother too? You can say, yes, a kangaroo has a mother, just like me and you. Then you can sort of say, oh, this is a kangaroo, this is a joey, you know. And then you move on where you say like, you know, does a giraffe have a mother too? Yes, a giraffe has a mother just like me and you. Name them to your kids. Say this is a giraffe, and the young of the giraffe or the baby is called a calf. You know, you should tell them that because it's really important to their learning and it's not covered in the book. So just a tip to help your child learn something interesting. If you are not sure, I actually learned quite a lot, like penguin, chick, swan, cygnet, right? I didn't really know all of that, so don't worry, this will come to your rescue at the back. Yeah, you can teach your kids. And if you really want to build upon teaching them more stuff, you can come up with flashcards. So you can have like, you know, the mother and a child with the name of the animal and the young, get them to do a matching game. What I did once with kids was that I got them, you know, I drew like a house like somewhere here and a market. So in order to get home, they needed a password, and this password is the name of the animal and the name of the young. So they had to go and bring the mother to find the child first, the young, and then they had to bring the two cards back and say like, oh, this is a kangaroo, this is the joey. If they forgot or they named it wrongly, I'll say bye bye, you have to go to the market until you remember the name of both the animal and the young. Then you can sort of go home. So that's a very good activity that you can do with kids. I would recommend like maybe a K1, K2 again, but I think it's better for the K2 kids because that's what I did with them. So this is one of the stories that I like, but you must know how to sort of build upon the story and to teach your kids more. And the last book that I like is called Stuck. This book is really interesting. It's, you know, like how a boy had his kite stuck on the tree and what he did to try and get it down. It's a good book to teach children how to problem solve. It also builds a lot of vocabulary for them. I don't really like the handwriting. That's the downside. Like, you know, the handwriting, it's not very good for like young kids because they're still learning the conventions of print. And this is not a good book for them to learn that. So when you're actually teaching kids, just remind them that, you know, this is not the proper way of writing and that they should learn to write properly, not like that. Yeah, other than that, the story is interesting. It's worth checking it out. And yeah, that's all for the books, I suppose. I've showed you, I think, at least about 10 books plus another 2 because of the like newer books that they came out with. And yeah, so that's the end of my sort of mini review of my top 10 favorite books. And yeah, Alexis is busy right over there having her own fun with the books. Yeah, see, she's right over there having fun with her books. Alexis, say bye. she's not interested. I'll put all the links to the books in the description down below so you can check it out. And if you have any questions, like, you know, you need more information of how to read the story to your kids, or, you know, of like activities, like follow-up activities that you can do with your children, you can always just let me know in the comments, like below, at the side, wherever, and I will sort of, yeah, get back to you on how you can help your child. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, thumbs up and subscribe. Bye.